The countdown reached 7 minutes and 58 seconds. A green signal pulsed on the monitor. NOR-24MC, Michael Cross. Jonathan's father. A man the world had considered dead for 15 years. Dr. Naomi Reed's face filled the secure video screen from her laboratory in Evanston. Behind her, the relay device sat inside a clear testing enclosure, 3 lights glowing across its black surface. Red. Amber. Green. The green light flashed in rhythm with the signal coming from Calder facility. He may not be conscious, Naomi said. He may not even be the person wearing the transmitter. Jonathan stared at the screen. But the identifier is active. Yes. Then we treat it as a living patient. The evidence officer beside us tightened his grip on the sealed tray containing Jonathan's damaged watch. You cannot remove this without authorization. Jonathan looked toward him. Then obtain it. The assistant state's attorney has to approve temporary transport. How long? I do not know. The countdown reached 7 minutes and 36 seconds. Jonathan removed his phone. I need a name. The officer frowned. For what? The assistant state's attorney. That is not how this works. No, Jonathan said. This is how it fails. His voice remained quiet. The room changed anyway. I am not asking you to violate evidence procedure. I am asking you to move through it before a medical system is destroyed. The officer looked toward the monitor. Naomi enlarged the Calder telemetry. 24 patient identifiers appeared in a vertical list. 23 remained gray. 1 flashed green. A second column displayed biometric information. Heart rate 49. Temperature 95.8. Oxygen saturation 86%. He is hypothermic, Naomi said. And his oxygen level is falling. Jonathan's face went still. Can you stabilize him remotely? I do not control the system. Can you stop the purge? Not without the second key remaining connected. The evidence officer looked at the watch. The watch is transmitting now. Only at close range, Naomi replied. Once the connection ends, the Calder node will continue the purge. What if the watch stays beside the reader? I asked. The reader is linked to the relay in my lab. The facility is still rejecting external commands. So we need physical access. Yes. The countdown reached 6 minutes and 51 seconds. Jonathan held out his phone to the officer. The assistant state's attorney is calling you. The officer stared at the screen. You contacted her? I contacted the state attorney. Of course you did. He answered. For 30 seconds he said almost nothing. Yes. Yes, ma'am. I understand. Then he looked at Jonathan. You can accompany the watch under police custody. It does not leave the officer's possession. Agreed. The transport must be logged. Log it. And this does not authorize entry into private property. Jonathan looked at the flashing signal. There is no private property registered at that location. The officer's expression changed. Then what is there? A facility that officially does not exist. The countdown reached 6 minutes and 12 seconds. Outside the evidence unit, 2 Chicago police vehicles waited with their engines running. A helicopter could not land near the building. Weather had reduced visibility over the lake, and the nearest available aircraft was still 20 minutes away. North Lake was almost 50 miles north. We could not reach it before the purge. Naomi remained connected through Jonathan's phone as we moved toward the exit. We may be able to slow the deletion, she said. How? I asked. The node is trying to verify the watch's signature. If I send repeated authentication requests, the system may delay destructive commands. May? It was built 15 years ago. I am reconstructing the architecture from a relay key and a damaged watch. Jonathan entered the rear of the police vehicle. I followed. He turned. No. I stopped with one hand against the door. No, what? You are not coming. The rain struck the roof above us. The officer carrying the watch had already climbed into the front passenger seat. A second officer waited behind the wheel. Naomi's voice came from the speaker. 5 minutes and 48 seconds. You do not have time to argue. I said. Exactly. I found the pattern. You have done enough. That is not your decision. This is not a board meeting. No. It is a medical facility linked to my father's injury, my family's settlement, and the surveillance of my niece. Jonathan stepped out of the vehicle. The blue police lights moved across his face. This may become dangerous. It already is. I cannot focus on finding my father while wondering whether someone is coming for you. The words hit harder than the rain. Not because of what he said. Because of how little control remained beneath it. Jonathan Cross was afraid. Not abstractly. Not for the company. For me. You do not get to use fear as authority, I said. His jaw tightened. I know. Then stop. For several seconds neither of us moved. The evidence officer looked straight ahead, pretending not to listen. The countdown reached 5 minutes and 17 seconds. Jonathan lowered his voice. Your mother is in the hospital. Hannah is with her. Your family needs you. They need the truth. And if this is a trap, then you need someone who does not trust your systems. His eyes held mine. The rain collected along his hairline and ran across the side of his face. You do not trust me? I trust that you want the truth. That is not the same thing. No. He looked away. For the first time since I met him, Jonathan seemed uncertain about what answer he wanted. I climbed into the vehicle. He followed. The door closed. The officer pulled away from the curb. 4 minutes and 59 seconds remained. Naomi flooded the Calder node with authentication requests. The countdown paused. 4 minutes and 43 seconds. Then continued. Again, Jonathan said. I am already sending the maximum rate. Send more. If I overload the relay, we lose the connection completely. Jonathan closed his eyes. Only for a second. When he opened them, the control had returned. What do you need? Access to a stronger transmitter. He looked toward the officer driving. Police communications? Different protocol, Naomi said. I need near-field amplification connected to a secure cellular frequency. Jonathan reached for his phone. Lila. She answered immediately. We need an encrypted field transmitter compatible with the Calder relay. A pause. How portable? Vehicle portable, Naomi replied. Lila heard her through the speaker. I know someone at Cross Meridian Cybersecurity who can assemble one. No company network, I said. Jonathan looked at me. I continued. Marcus still has access somewhere. Every time we use Cross Meridian infrastructure, he is ahead of us. Lila said nothing. Jonathan did not defend the company. Outside vendor, he said. I can call a former federal communications engineer. Lila replied. He lives in Lake Forest. Contact him. Have him meet us north. The countdown reached 4 minutes and 8 seconds. The police vehicle entered the expressway. Morning traffic had begun. Cars filled the lanes. Brake lights spread ahead like a red wall. The officer activated the siren. Vehicles moved aside slowly. Too slowly. Jonathan stared at the telemetry. Oxygen saturation, 84%. Heart rate, 46. He is getting worse, I said. Naomi's face tightened. Yes. Could the purge be affecting life support already? Possibly. How does deleting data lower oxygen? If the patient system is connected to automated respiratory support, the purge may be shutting down control modules in sequence. Jonathan's hand closed around his phone. Can you reverse it? Not remotely. The countdown paused again. 3 minutes and 51 seconds. Then jumped. 3 minutes and 24 seconds. It skipped, I said. The system accelerated, Naomi replied. Why? Someone inside Calder overrode the delay. Marcus. He knew we were trying to stop him. Jonathan looked at the officer. Faster. I am already doing 90. Then use the shoulder. The officer looked in the mirror. This is not your car. No. Jonathan leaned forward. It is your decision whether a patient dies while we sit behind a delivery truck. The officer moved on to the shoulder. The siren screamed through the rain. 3 minutes and 2 seconds. I stared at Michael Cross's identifier. NLR 24MC, 24. The number appeared everywhere. 24 dermal sensor arrays. 24 civilian volunteers. 24 beds. Maybe 24 patients. But Michael was listed as 24. Not one. Not an administrator. The last subject. Naomi, I said. Why is Michael's identifier NLR 24? Patient numbering. But he was not part of the original volunteer group. We do not know that. Jonathan said the civilian trial was cancelled before enrollment. Jonathan looked at me. It was. What if it was not cancelled? It was never billed. Not through Cross Meridian. He understood. Marcus's company had operated the program. Vale Biomedical Systems. What if the 24 volunteers were moved to Calder before the acquisition? I asked. Then Michael entered later. Naomi shook her head. The numbering would likely make him 25. Unless one patient was removed. Samuel Ortega. The missing worker. He replaced someone, I said. Jonathan became still. What? Michael may not have been patient 24 originally. Samuel may have been. Naomi began typing. If Samuel's sensor array was reassigned, then the identifier could belong to either of them, I said. Jonathan's gaze returned to the screen. The living signal might not be his father. It might be Samuel Ortega. For one moment, hope and fear crossed his face together. He is still a patient, Jonathan said. The words were quiet. He is still someone. 2 minutes and 37 seconds. A new line appeared beneath the telemetry. Manual disconnect initiated. What does that mean? I asked. Naomi's face went pale. Someone is physically disconnecting the patient. From the network? From everything. Jonathan's voice sharpened. Stop them. I cannot. Open an audio channel. There is no audio protocol. Then create one. That is not possible. You built medical telemetry systems 12 years ago. And? Naomi stared at him through the screen. And I left because your company buried trial failures. The vehicle became silent. She continued. I warned your board. Marcus destroyed my work. You signed the settlement that prevented me from discussing it publicly. Jonathan's face emptied. I signed your settlement? Yes. I was told it concerned an employment dispute. It concerned 6 patients who developed neurological injuries during sensor testing. The first contract. The hidden components. The Calder patients. Jonathan's signature had appeared again. Not necessarily with knowledge, but always at the final door. 2 minutes and 9 seconds. Did the 6 patients go to Calder? I asked. I never knew where they were taken. Could any still be alive? Naomi's eyes moved toward the gray identifiers. I do not know. Jonathan stared at the screen. I watched the weight settle across him. My mother's denied scan. My father's false settlement. Naomi's silence agreement. 24 hidden patients. His name had authorized systems he had never understood because understanding had been delegated to people he trusted. He had not ordered every harm. But ignorance had protected him. And protection had created the empire. 1 minute and 52 seconds. The evidence officer said. Jonathan looked at Naomi. What happens if the countdown reaches 0? The records erase. And the patient? If manual disconnect completes first, the telemetry ends. It will not tell us whether the patient is alive. Can the watch preserve the identifier? It may retain the last handshake. Do it. I am trying. 1 minute and 33 seconds. The vehicle swerved around traffic. Rain blurred the windows. The officer's radio crackled. A state police unit had located the Calder property, an abandoned rehabilitation center west of Waukegan. County records listed it as condemned. Thermal imaging showed power inside. Several vehicles had entered within the last hour. One matched Marcus Vale's private fleet. Jonathan leaned closer to the radio. How many exits? The officer answered. Main drive, service road, possible loading access to the east. Air support? Grounded. State police? 7 minutes out. The countdown reached 1 minute. Manual disconnect, 72%. Jonathan looked at me. What did your father say Michael told him? To keep the relay key away from Marcus. Anything else? That Michael was going back to get everyone. Everyone. Maybe the identifier was not attached to one person. Maybe it controlled access to all of them. Naomi, I said, what if? NLR-24 is not a patient code. What else would it be? A ward. She stopped typing. 24 beds. I continued. One active signal because one controller monitors the entire group. That would make MC, Master Control. Jonathan said. Not Michael Cross. NLR-24 MC, North Lake Recovery. Ward 24. Master Control. The green signal did not prove his father was alive. It proved the ward was active. Naomi stared at the telemetry. If you are right, the biometric reading is an aggregate error. Or a default patient. I said. The countdown reached 46 seconds. Can the relay issue a ward command? Jonathan asked. Possibly. What command? Naomi opened a hidden menu. 3 options appeared. Lockdown. Transfer. Emergency release. Jonathan's eyes fixed on the last one. Activate it. Naomi hesitated. Emergency release could unlock every secured room. Good. It could also disconnect controlled medication systems. Will it shut down life support? I do not know. 31 seconds. Manual disconnect, 88%. I remembered my mother's words. Systems were not abstract to the people trapped inside them. Every decision here belonged to bodies we could not see. If you do nothing, Marcus controls the result. I said. Jonathan looked at me. If we activate it, people may die. They may already be dying. That is not an answer. No. I heard my own voice tremble. It is a choice without a safe option. He stared at the command. Jonathan Cross had made decisions worth billions. Bought companies. Closed factories. Built hospitals. But those decisions reached him through reports, projections, and legal summaries. This one arrived without distance. Press the button. Do not press it. Either way, people might suffer. What would you do? He asked. The question frightened me more than an order. You cannot give this to me. I am asking. You are the one with the authority. And you are the one who keeps seeing what I miss. 20 seconds. I looked at the oxygen level. 81%. Heart rate 42. Manual disconnect 93%. Emergency release? I said. Jonathan turned to Naomi. Do it. She entered the command. The relay rejected it. Authorization failure. 10 seconds. The watch signature is incomplete, Naomi said. What is missing? A biometric confirmation. Whose? The registered owner. Jonathan held out his hand. The watch is sealed, the evidence officer said. Open it. I cannot use my pulse through the bag. Naomi shook her head. The contact needs skin. 5 seconds. The officer tore open the seal. He pressed the cracked watch against Jonathan's wrist. The blue light beneath the glass brightened. Naomi activated the command again. 3, 2, 1. The screen went black. No countdown. No signal. No telemetry. Only our reflections in the dark glass. Jonathan did not breathe. Naomi typed. Nothing returned. Did it work? I asked. I do not know. The officer sealed the watch inside a new evidence bag. Jonathan stared at the blank screen. We had lost the signal. Maybe we had opened the ward. Maybe Marcus had erased it. Maybe the last patient had died while we watched a number disappear. The police vehicle continued north. For the next 23 minutes, no one spoke. At 10:11 in the morning, we left the expressway. The city thinned behind us. Office buildings gave way to warehouses, open lots, and winter bare trees. Rain collected in drainage ditches beside the road. The Calder property sat beyond a chain-link fence at the end of an industrial access lane. From the outside, it looked abandoned. 3 stories of stained concrete. Boarded windows. A collapsed section of roof near the western wing. A rusted sign identified it as North Lake Rehabilitation Center. Closed by order of Lake County. No smoke. No visible security. No sign of 24 hospital beds hidden inside. State police vehicles blocked the main entrance. Officers moved behind open doors with weapons drawn. An ambulance waited near the gate. Jonathan's sedan arrived behind us. Lila stepped out. So did Dr. Naomi Reed. She carried the relay device inside a hardened case. You came, Jonathan said. Naomi looked toward the facility. I left once. The answer carried 12 years of regret. I am not leaving again. A state police captain approached. We have probable cause for a welfare check based on medical telemetry and suspected unlawful confinement. Have you entered? Jonathan asked. Main entrance is locked. We are preparing a breach. Marcus? His vehicle is inside. Any movement? 2 heat signatures on the ground floor. More below grade. Below grade? Large basement level. Possibly 2. Naomi looked at the building. The original Calder plans showed no basement. The captain's mouth tightened. Apparently the original plans were incomplete. Of course they were. The official world ended at the ground floor. Everything important had been built beneath it. The breach team moved toward the entrance. Jonathan followed. The captain blocked him. You stay here. My father may be inside. So may armed personnel. I am going in. No. Jonathan's expression hardened. The captain did not move. For once, wealth did not clear the doorway. I expected Jonathan to argue. Instead, he stepped back. What do you need from us? The captain glanced toward Naomi. Facility knowledge. Medical system access. Nothing else. Naomi opened the relay case. The external connection is dead. Can you restore it? Only inside. The captain looked at her identification. You are a physician? Biomedical systems engineer. You stay with the technical team. I am coming with her, Jonathan said. No, the watch is part of the authentication. The watch remains with police. Then the officer carrying it goes. The evidence officer nodded reluctantly. The captain studied Jonathan. Behind the second line. You follow instructions. If we stop, you stop. Agreed. He looked at me. You remain outside. Jonathan did not speak. He did not have to. His eyes said the same thing. This time, I did not argue. Not because he had authority. Because the work inside required Naomi and the watch. My presence would not open a door. Cameron's words returned to me. People are not equations. Sometimes the correct variable was absence. I will stay with Lila, I said. Jonathan looked surprised. Then relieved. He hated that I noticed. Do not leave the command area. I said. His jaw shifted. Please do not leave the command area. Better. For half a second. Something almost warm passed between us. Then he followed the officers through the gate. I watched until the building swallowed him. Lila stood beside a mobile command vehicle, reading updates from 3 screens. Reporters had not arrived yet. They would. A police operation at a secret medical facility connected to one of America's most powerful companies would not remain quiet for long. My phone buzzed. Hannah. How is Mom? I asked. Angry. That is good. She wants to know where you are. At a police operation. Silence. Hannah? I am deciding which part of that sentence to yell about first. She cannot be stressed. She is the calm one. Do not tell her everything. She already saw the news. What news? Hannah exhaled. Cross Meridian confirmed Jonathan survived the board vote. Reporters are outside the hospital. My stomach tightened. Why? They found out Mom is here. How? I do not know. Marcus. Or someone working for him. The story needed photographs. A sick mother. A poor neighborhood. A young employee. A billionaire. Every private wound could be turned into public leverage. Move her room, I said. The hospital already did. Who ordered it? Dr. Patel. Not Jonathan. Good. The distinction mattered. Is Lily safe? Ryan took her to school, then decided school was not safe, then took her to Mrs. Delgado, then decided that was not safe. That sounds like Ryan. He is currently driving in circles with 2 security cars following him. Despite everything, I laughed. It came out wrong. Too close to crying. Hannah's voice softened. Evie, are you okay? I looked toward the abandoned facility. I do not know. Is he inside? Yes. Jonathan? Yes. There was a pause. You said his name before I asked which man? I closed my eyes. This is not the time. It never seems to be. Mom needs you. And you need someone to say what you are avoiding. I am not avoiding anything. You are standing outside a secret hospital while a 49-year-old billionaire searches for his missing father, and you are pretending your feelings are the least complicated part. I lowered my voice. I have known him for 7 days. Time is not the only thing that creates intensity. Danger is not love. No. She sounded almost proud. At least you remembered. I looked through the fence. I do not know what this is. Then do not name it. That was the best advice she had given me. Stay with Mom, I said. I will. And do not let reporters near her. Ryan threatened one with a tire iron. Please tell me you stopped him. I took away the tire iron. The call ended. Lila stood a few feet away. You have a loud family. You have no idea. I am beginning to. She looked toward the facility. The police radio crackled. Entry team inside. Main lobby clear. 2 security personnel detained. One carried a Cross Meridian contractor badge. Lila's face tightened. Current badge? I asked. Yes. Who issued it? Executive security. Marcus? Possibly. I looked at her. Does every road lead to him? No. That answer came carefully. Some lead to Jonathan. The facility's lobby smelled like mold and antiseptic. I knew because a police camera transmitted live video to the command screen. The walls were stained. Old wheelchairs sat overturned near a reception desk. Dust covered everything visible. But the floor beneath the dust showed fresh tracks. Carts. Boots. Medical equipment. The entry team found an elevator behind a false wall. No floor buttons. Only a biometric panel. Naomi stepped into view. She held the relay near the scanner. Nothing happened. The evidence officer brought Jonathan's watch close. A blue line appeared. Then a message. Ward 24 access revoked. Naomi tried again. No change. Can you bypass it? The captain asked. Not without triggering lockdown. Is lockdown worse? Yes. How? All lower doors seal. Ventilation can shut down. Jonathan looked at the biometric panel. Use my pulse. Naomi shook her head. We already used it for emergency release. The system may have invalidated your signature. Try. The officer pressed the watch against Jonathan's wrist. Naomi placed the relay beside it. The blue line returned. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. Then the elevator doors opened. A smell moved through the police camera microphone. Not something I could smell from outside. But I saw. Every officer react. One covered his mouth. Another turned away. Jonathan did neither. The elevator descended. Level -1. Then -2. Then -3. The original plans showed no basement. Calder had buried 3 floors beneath condemned concrete. The doors opened onto a bright corridor. Not abandoned. Not dusty. Clean. Operational. White walls. Fluorescent lights. A red line ran along the floor. 24 doors stood on either side. Each carried a number. 1 through 24. The first door was open. The bed inside was empty. So was the second. The third. Every room they passed contained an unused hospital bed, restraints, old monitoring equipment, and a small black sensor mounted above the headboard. The beds had been cleaned recently. Not abandoned for 15 years. Prepared. Waiting. Naomi entered room 6. She touched the monitor. Warm. Recently used? The captain asked. Yes. Jonathan looked toward the hall. Where are the patients? A sound came through the radio. Metal striking metal. Once. Then again. From the end of the corridor. The team moved toward door 24. It was locked. A green light glowed above it. NLR-24. Master Control. The captain ordered the team to prepare a breach. Naomi stopped him. If this room controls the others, forced entry could destroy the system. Jonathan stepped toward the panel. His watch activated before it touched the surface. The door unlocked. Inside was not a patient room. It was a control center. Monitors covered one wall. 24 patient files appeared across them. Names. Photographs. Medical histories. Some files were marked deceased. Others transferred. 6 had no final status. One image showed Samuel Ortega. Age at intake, 41. Condition, respiratory injury, neurological trauma. Disposition, transferred. Destination, redacted. Another image appeared beside it. Michael Daniel Cross. Age at intake, 58. Condition, blunt force trauma, chemically induced memory suppression. Jonathan stopped moving. Memory suppression. Not accident-related amnesia. Induced. His father had not simply disappeared. Someone had chemically erased him. Naomi moved toward the screen. Michael was enrolled. As a non-compliant subject. Subject? Jonathan asked. Not patient. The distinction was monstrous. Jonathan opened the full record. Intake date, October 17th. The night of Jonathan's car crash. Michael entered Calder the same day his son lost part of his memory. The record listed a supervising physician. Dr. Elias Voss. Naomi froze. You know him, Jonathan said. He directed the biometric trial. Where is he? He died 10 years ago. The screen updated. Current medical director, Elias Voss. Status, active. Naomi stepped back. That is impossible. A voice came from the doorway. No, Dr. Reed. Every officer turned. An elderly man stood in the corridor wearing blue medical scrubs beneath a white coat. His hair was completely gray. His face was thin. A tremor moved through his left hand. But his eyes were clear. Reports of my death were administratively useful. Dr. Elias Voss raised both hands. He carried no weapon. The captain ordered him to kneel. He obeyed slowly. Jonathan stepped toward him. Where is my father? Voss looked at him. You have his eyes. Where is he? Not here. Samuel Ortega? Also gone. Gone where? Voss smiled sadly. You still ask questions as if there is one building, one program, One guilty man. Jonathan's face hardened. Answer. Voss looked toward the screen. Calder was never a facility. It was a network. The command vehicle outside went silent. Lila and I listened through the live feed. How many locations? The captain asked. Originally 4. Now? I do not know. You are medical director. I maintain this node. Who controls the network? Voss looked at Jonathan. Your company. Jonathan did not move. No, not publicly. Marcus? Marcus manages continuity. Who created it? Voss's eyes shifted toward Michael Cross's file. Your father helped. The words changed Jonathan's face. You are lying. Michael believed biometric monitoring could prevent industrial deaths. He brought the concept to Vale Biomedical. My father was a dockworker. Your father was an engineer before he was blacklisted. Jonathan stared at him. Public history had turned Michael Cross into a laborer killed on the docks. Reality was becoming something else. A union organizer. A shipment contact. An engineer. A participant in the technology that later imprisoned him. What did he build? Jonathan asked. The relay architecture. The key? Yes. Why did you imprison him? We did not. Voss looked toward the officers. Michael stayed after the accident. To help Samuel? To shut down the trials? What happened? He discovered the civilian volunteers had not given informed consent. Naomi's face tightened on the screen. Voss continued. Some were recruited through occupational clinics. Others through debt relief programs. Several believed they were receiving free medical care. My mother's denied imaging returned to me. People in need. People with bills. People whose desperation could be turned into permission. How many? I asked, though Voss could not hear me outside. The captain asked instead. How many subjects? Across all phases? Yes. Voss looked toward the floor. 212. Lila inhaled beside me. 212 people. Not 24. 24 was one ward. One node. One piece of the system. Jonathan stood motionless. What did the sensors do? Voss answered like a scientist who had spent years turning horror into language. They measured pain response, fear conditioning, sleep deprivation, memory retention, chemical compliance. Chemical compliance? Whether medication could reduce resistance while preserving functional behavior. Memory suppression. Jonathan's car crash. His missing week. Was I treated? He asked. Voss looked at him. Yes. The answer crossed the distance between them like a blade. Jonathan did not blink. When? The night of your crash. Where? Calder. You treated me here? In the emergency wing. Why? You entered the plant after the accident. You saw Samuel. You saw the trial equipment. You confronted Michael. And then? Marcus arrived. The room became still. What did he do? He told you the equipment belonged to a classified government program. It did not. Some funding passed through defense research. But the civilian testing exceeded every authorization. What did I say? You threatened to report. Everyone. Jonathan's voice lowered. And Marcus? He said the company would collapse. Contracts would be cancelled. Workers would lose jobs. Your father would go to prison. Did I believe him? No. For the first time, Voss looked ashamed. You tried to leave. What happened? Marcus stopped you. How? Voss looked at Jonathan's right arm. There should be a scar near your elbow. Jonathan rolled up his sleeve. A small pale mark crossed the inside of his arm. I had noticed it once in his office. I assumed it came from an accident. Injection, Voss said. Jonathan stared at it. You drugged me. I followed an order. Whose? Marcus's. Naomi closed her eyes. Jonathan's control broke. Not into shouting. Not into violence. He simply stepped back as if the room had moved beneath him. Marcus had not only hidden information, he had chemically taken memory from the man who trusted him most. Then he had spent 15 years standing beside Jonathan, helping him build a company over the buried truth. What happened to my father? Jonathan asked. Michael attacked Marcus. Then? He was restrained. Did you treat him too? Yes. Did you erase his memory? We tried. Did it work? No. A faint change entered Vasa's expression. Michael had designed the relay system. He knew how to resist parts of the protocol. How? I do not know. Where did he go? 6 years ago, Marcus transferred him. To which node? Calder East. Where is that? Vas shook his head. I was not told. Jonathan moved closer. Samuel? Transferred with him. Why keep them together? Michael refused to cooperate unless Samuel remained alive. They had survived. At least 6 years ago. Jonathan's father had used whatever leverage remained to protect my father's missing co-worker. The story was no longer about two families accidentally connected through an industrial accident. Their fathers had been bound together by survival. The captain looked toward the facility screens. Where are the recent patients? Vasa's face changed. Moved last night. By whom? Marcus's team. To where? I do not know. You are asking us to believe you operate the facility but know nothing. I know enough to understand that ignorance keeps people alive. The same logic had poisoned my family for 15 years. Silence protects. Do not ask. Do not look. Survive. Outside, Lila received a message. Her face went pale. What? I asked. She turned the screen toward me. A Cross Meridian aircraft had departed a private hangar outside Chicago at 9:46. Flight plan, Toronto. Passenger manifest, Marcus Vale and 3 staff members. He is leaving the country, I said. Lila shook her head. The flight never crossed into Canadian airspace. Where did it go? Transponder turned off over Lake Michigan. The aircraft had disappeared. Just like Michael. Just like Samuel. Marcus was not fleeing. He was moving somewhere the official map could not follow. Inside Calder, an alarm began sounding. Naomi looked toward the relay. The emergency release is still active. What does that mean? The captain asked. Every secure door in the lower levels may be unlocked. A police officer called from the corridor. Captain, we found another elevator. Where? Behind room 12. Vas closed his eyes. No. The captain turned. What is below us? Vas did not answer. Jonathan grabbed the front of his white coat. The officers moved. He released Vas before they reached him. What is below us? Vas looked toward Naomi. The archive. Records? Biological. No one spoke. What does that mean? Naomi asked. Samples. Tissue. Implant prototypes. Human remains? The captain asked. Some. The room turned cold. The hidden facility did not only store data. It stored evidence inside bodies. The second elevator opened. A smell reached the corridor. Chemical. Metallic. Cold. The lower archive contained rows of refrigeration units. Some were empty. Others carried patient numbers. The police camera moved past containers labeled with dates and trial phases. Naomi stopped beside one unit. Her face disappeared from the command feed for several seconds. When she returned, she looked older. These are neural tissue samples. The captain swore. From living patients? Possibly biopsies. Possibly post-mortem. Jonathan searched the labels. Michael Cross. Samuel Ortega. Neither name appeared. Then I noticed a code on one container visible through the police feed. DH09. I stepped closer to the screen. Pause. Lila stopped the playback. What? Enlarge that label. She did. DH09. Collection date, October 17th. Source, blood and marrow. My father's initials. Daniel Hart. Age 41 at the time. What is it? Lila asked. My father was 41 15 years ago. That does not prove. Collection date is the night after the accident. The night he left home after Michael called. The night he went to the river loading yard. The night he returned smelling of disinfectant. My father had not told us everything. Not even close. I called him. He answered after 5 rings. Evie? Were you inside Calder? Silence. Dad? Where are you? North Lake. His breathing changed. You went there? Were you inside? I told you to stay away from this. You gave them blood. No answer. Why? Who told you? We found a sample marked DH09. The line became quiet. Then he said something I had not expected. Do not let them destroy it. I looked toward the refrigeration unit on the screen. What is it? My blood. I know. No. His voice shook. Not only mine. My body went cold. What does that mean? He breathed slowly. Like every word caused pain. Michael needed a way to prove the patients were being altered. Altered how? Implants. The neuroresponse processors. The dermal sensor arrays. Were you implanted? No, then why use your blood? Because I was not part of the trial. My sample was the control. Control for what? Genetic changes. I stopped breathing. Naomi moved close enough to hear through the phone. What genetic changes? I asked. They were testing whether the implants altered inflammatory and neurological markers over time. That does not change DNA. I do not know the science. What did Michael say? That the later phases involve gene delivery coatings. Naomi's face drained of color. What? Jonathan asked through the command feed. Lila related. Naomi entered the lower archive. She examined the label on Dad's sample. Michael was comparing untreated blood against trial subjects. How many controls? Jonathan asked. My father answered through the phone. 9. DH09. Daniel Hart. Control subject 9. Who were the others? I asked. Workers. Family members. People Michael trusted. Why did you never tell us? Because one control disappeared. The old fear returned to his voice. Who? Thomas Brennan's wife. Kathleen. The woman whose death 6 weeks ago reopened everything. What happened to her? She agreed to provide blood. 3 days later, someone staged a carjacking. Was she killed? No. Thomas found her. Where? In another clinic. Was she implanted? Dad began crying. I had heard my father shout. I had heard him curse through pain. I had heard him break tools and slam doors. I had never heard him cry. They changed her, he whispered. How? She forgot her children for 2 years. The full shape of the threat emerged. They had not only photographed me walking home from school. They had shown Dad what could happen if he refused. Not death. Erasure. A body still alive. A family no longer remembered. Dad, did they do anything to you? No, how do you know? I remember all of you. That was not proof. Jonathan had remembered his life too. Only one night was missing. I looked toward the DH09 sample. Why preserve your blood? Michael said the truth would need a baseline. Then this sample matters. Yes. The facility alarm changed. A faster tone. Naomi looked toward the refrigeration controls. Temperature is rising. Someone had triggered a thermal purge. The samples were beginning to thaw. How long? Jonathan asked. Naomi checked the panel. 20 minutes before degradation begins. Less for some tissues. The captain ordered medical transport coolers. The officers searched for an override. The controls required 2 authorizations. The relay key. And the master credential. Marcus had the master credential. Or Michael did. Can the watch override it? Jonathan asked. Naomi tested the panel. Rejected. What about the relay? Rejected. The archive had been designed to survive outside discovery by destroying itself. Jonathan looked toward Voss. Stop it. I cannot. You operated this node. Marcus removed my archive access years ago. Then who maintained it? Automated systems. Someone moved patients last night. Security contractors. Who gave them access? Voss looked down. Victoria Cross. The name struck harder because it came from somewhere unexpected. Jonathan did not move. My sister? She signed the continuity order. When? 4 years ago. Lila stared at the screen. That is impossible. Why? I asked. Victoria told the board she first learned of Calder yesterday. Voss gave a tired smile. Then she lied. Jonathan looked toward the police camera. His sister had moved the board meeting. Protected Marcus's argument. Repeated the accusation that I was manipulating Jonathan. And now her name appeared inside the facility. What was the continuity order? He asked. Authority to preserve the program if Marcus became unavailable. Preserve how? Relocate patients. Destroy records. Maintain funding. Why would she sign it? Voss's expression softened. Ask her mother. Jonathan froze. My mother is dead. Voss looked at him. Are you sure? The facility seemed to stop breathing. Michael Cross. Declared dead. Alive. Elias Voss. Reported dead. Alive. Now Jonathan's mother. Publicly dead for more than 20 years. Maybe alive too. Every death around Cross Meridian had become a document someone else prepared. Jonathan's voice became almost inaudible. What did you say? Voss looked toward the archive. Calder began before Marcus. Before Vale Biomedical. Before your government contract. Who created it? Your mother helped fund the first trial. Jonathan stared at him. My mother cleaned offices at night. She did. She died of ovarian cancer. She entered treatment. Where? Voss raised his eyes. Calder East. The same destination as Michael. The same hidden node that might hold Samuel. The same place Marcus might now be heading. Jonathan stepped away from everyone. For a moment, he was not the chief executive officer. Not the billionaire. Not the man who controlled rooms. He was a son being told that both parents had vanished into a system carrying his name. I wanted to reach for him. I did not. Not yet. Comfort could become another form of taking control. He needed truth before touch. The refrigeration alarm continued. 15 minutes remained. Naomi opened the DH-09 unit manually. Cold air spilled across the floor. She lifted the sample container into a transport cooler. The captain stopped her. Chain of custody. Then document it while I save it. They moved quickly. Blood samples. Tissue slides. Implant prototypes. Every object photographed, labeled, and transferred. Jonathan helped carry the coolers. No one asked him to. No one stopped him. His expensive suit jacket disappeared beneath a borrowed protective gown. For the first time, he looked less like the owner of the system than one of the workers cleaning up after it. I watched through the command screen as he lifted a case marked Phase 3, Neurocompliance. My phone rang. Victoria Cross. I stared at the name. Lila saw it. Do not answer. Why? She may be tracking calls. She already knows where we are. Jonathan should speak to her. He is underground. The phone continued ringing. I answered. Evelyn Hart. Victoria's voice was cold. You need to leave North Lake immediately. How do you know I am here? Because police activity involving Cross Meridian has reached the board. Did the board tell you about the basement archive? Silence. Did it tell you about the continuity order you signed? Her breathing changed. You do not understand what you found. That sentence is becoming very popular. Put Jonathan on the phone. He is preserving evidence your order attempted to destroy. I never ordered evidence destroyed. You authorized continuity. To protect patients. By moving them without records. You think public exposure would protect them? I think informed consent would have been a good beginning. Victoria's voice sharpened. You are 24 years old. You have spent 1 week inside this company, and now you believe every secret is corruption. No. I looked toward the facility. I believe secrets that require surveillance, memory suppression, and hidden patients deserve questions. You do not know what those patients are. They are people. You are naive. And you are afraid. The line went quiet. For 1 second I heard something human beneath her anger. Yes, she said. The admission surprised me. What are you afraid of? That Jonathan will destroy the only system keeping our mother alive. My grip tightened around the phone. She is alive? Yes. Where? I cannot tell you. Calder East? Victoria stopped breathing. You spoke to Voss. He said you signed the continuity order. I signed it because Marcus threatened to withdraw treatment. What treatment? Neurodegeneration. What happened to her? The early sensor coding caused progressive damage. Jonathan's mother had not only funded the trials. She had been harmed by them. Why did the family report her dead? My father decided it. Michael? Yes. Why? To protect Jonathan. The same explanation. Always protection. Always silence. What did Jonathan know? Nothing. Why keep it from him? He was 26. Cross Logistics was barely surviving. If the trial scandal became public, the family would lose everything. So Michael staged her death? He created a legal identity for her treatment. And later became a patient himself. Victoria's voice broke slightly. He refused to let Marcus end the program because our mother depended on it. The story changed again. Michael had tried to shut down the trials. But he could not destroy the only treatment keeping his wife alive. Marcus had leverage. A secret patient. A family empire. A son who knew nothing. Why help Marcus now? I asked. Because he controls Calder East. And if the system collapses? Our mother dies. What about Michael? A long pause. He is alive. Jonathan's father. Alive. Not a code. Not a possibility. A fact. Samuel Ortega? I do not know. Where is Calder East? I cannot tell you. Then you are choosing one life over every patient Marcus moved. I am choosing my mother. You are choosing Marcus. You have no right to judge me. No. I looked toward the police officers carrying coolers from the facility. But Jonathan does. Victoria's voice hardened. Do not tell him. You expect me to hide that both of his parents are alive? If he knows, he will go to them. Yes. And Marcus will use him. He already has. You think you are helping Jonathan because you tell him the truth. I think the truth belongs to him. You have no idea what the truth can cost. I thought of my father's back. My mother's kidneys. Kathleen Brennan losing her children inside her own mind. 212 trial subjects. A city neighborhood reduced to a pressure model. I know what silence costs. I ended the call. Lila stared at me. Was it true? Both parents are alive. Her face changed. Where? Calder East. Did she give the location? No, will she? No. I looked toward Jonathan on the screen. He carried another cooler into the elevator. You need to tell him. I know. When? The question hurt. Immediately was the moral answer. But he was preserving evidence. His mother's life depended on the system he was dismantling. The truth could disrupt him at the exact moment people needed his focus. This was how secrets began. Not always with greed. Sometimes with timing. Not now. Later. When it is safer. When the work is done. When he can handle it. My father had probably said the same thing 15 years ago. I tell him now, I said. Lila nodded. We entered the facility after the captain cleared the upper levels. The air inside smelled of bleach, damp concrete, and something metallic beneath both. The false elevator carried us down. My reflection appeared in its steel wall. Pale face. Hair pulled back. Same thrift store blazer I had worn when I entered Jonathan's elevator by mistake. That woman had worried about a financial model. She had not known her father's blood sat in a hidden archive. She had not known powerful families could declare people dead and continue speaking to them. The doors opened onto the lower corridor. Jonathan stood beside the final cooler. He removed his protective gloves. His hands were red from cold. He looked at me. You were supposed to remain outside. I did until I needed to tell you something. He heard the difference in my voice. What? Officers moved around us. Naomi supervised the samples. Voss sat in restraints near the control room. This was not private. There would never be a good place for the truth. Victoria called me. Jonathan became still. What did she want? She signed the continuity order because Marcus controls treatment for your mother. His face did not change. Not immediately. My mother is dead. No. The single word echoed through the corridor. Jonathan stared at me. I forced myself not to soften it into uncertainty. She is alive at Calder East. His breathing stopped. Victoria confirmed it. He looked toward Voss. Then back to me. My father? Alive. The control vanished from his face. Only for 1 second. Then it returned so quickly it frightened me. Did she speak to him? I do not know. Samuel? She says she does not know. Where is Calder East? She refused to tell me. Jonathan turned away. He placed both hands against the metal table. His shoulders remained straight. But I saw the tremor move through them. 23 years believing his mother was dead. 15 years believing the same about his father. The graves. The funerals. The anniversaries. Every private moment of grief had been built around people still breathing somewhere else. I stepped closer. Jonathan. He did not turn. What did Victoria say about my mother? She suffered neurological damage from an early sensor coding. The Calder system keeps her alive. And my father? He stayed involved because destroying the program would end her treatment. The pieces settled inside him. Michael had tried to expose the trials. Then preserve them. Not for money. For his wife. Marcus had understood the value of that contradiction. He could make a good man protect a terrible system by placing one beloved person inside it. Jonathan turned toward me. His eyes were gray and empty. If I shut down Calder, I kill her. We do not know that. If I expose it, Marcus withdraws treatment. Then we find another treatment. You heard Victoria. There may not be one. You cannot decide based on what Marcus wants you to fear. His mouth tightened. You think that is easy? No, I have buried both of them. I know. No, you do not. The words struck. He regretted them immediately. I saw it. But grief had already spoken. You are right, I said. He looked at me. I do not know what that feels like. The anger left his face. I continued. But I know what it feels like to watch your family disappear one bill, one lie, and one sacrifice at a time. His eyes lowered. I am sorry. You do not need to apologize for being hurt. I spoke to you as if pain made mine more important. That was Jonathan. Even broken, he noticed power. Even grieving, he recognized when he had used it. The corridor alarm stopped. Silence entered. He looked at the final cooler. What did they recover? Most of the blood controls. Some tissue samples. The implant prototypes. My father's? No sample under his name. Samuel? No, and the patient's. Moved. By Marcus. Probably. He looked toward Voss. The elderly doctor watched us. Jonathan walked to him. Where is Calder East? Voss shook his head. I was never given the location. Victoria knows. She knows how to contact it. Through what? A medical emergency line. Number? I do not have it. Who does? Marcus. Jonathan crouched in front of him. You spent 15 years helping him erase people. Voss looked down. I spent 15 years keeping some of them alive. You call that life? No. The honesty disarmed the accusation. Voss continued. I told myself survival left room for justice later. And did it? No. Jonathan stood. Voss looked toward me. She understands. Do not involve her. I mean, she understands what happens when poor people become medical opportunities. Jonathan's face hardened. Voss continued. The early trial subjects were workers. Uninsured patients. People with debt. People no one expected to be believed. My mother. My father. The residents of South Deering. The same business model. Find desperation. Rename it consent. Measure acceptance. 82%. A number designed to predict how many people would surrender before resistance became expensive. What does South Harbor have to do with Calder? I asked. Voss looked toward the ceiling. The land? What about it? Calder East cannot remain where it is. Why? Environmental contamination. Jonathan's eyes sharpened. They need a new facility. Yes. South Deering. Voss nodded. The redevelopment project was not only about real estate. Cross Meridian was clearing the neighborhood to build a new Calder node. The residents were not obstacles to luxury apartments. They were being removed to make room for a medical facility that could not appear on public maps. What was the planned site? I asked. Voss looked at Jonathan. The former South Shore fabrication parcel. The place where the accident happened. The place where hidden equipment entered. The system was returning to its origin. Marcus had spent 15 years burying the past. Now he was rebuilding it over the homes of the people who survived. Jonathan's face became cold. The project is finished. Voss shook his head. You cannot stop it with a board order. I control Cross Meridian. Not the Calder trusts. Who does? Your family. Jonathan stared at him. Which family member? Voss looked toward the black screen inside the control room. Your mother. The living patient at Calder East. The woman declared dead for 23 years. She was not only being kept alive by the network. On paper, she owned it. Jonathan's phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. No one spoke at first. Then an older woman's voice came through. Weak. Careful. Jonathan? His face emptied. No one else moved. The entire corridor heard the name. Not Mr. Cross. Not Sir. Jonathan. The way only someone from before the Empire would say it. He held the phone closer. Who is this? A breath came through the line. Then, you still ask questions too late. His hand began to tremble. Mother? The woman cried softly. One sound. Almost swallowed. Jonathan closed his eyes. For the first time, I saw him stop fighting what he felt. Where are you? I cannot tell you. Are you safe? No. His eyes opened. Is my father with you? A pause. He was. Where is he now? Marcus moved him this morning. To where? I do not know. Samuel Ortega? He went with Michael. Alive. Both men. Moved only hours earlier. Marcus was ahead of us again. Mother, listen to me. I am coming for you. No. Her voice sharpened despite its weakness. You cannot come. Why? Because that is what Marcus wants. Jonathan looked toward me. What does he want? You. For what? Another. Pause. The final authorization. What authorization? To begin Phase 4. Naomi stepped closer. What is Phase 4? She whispered. The woman on the phone heard her. Naomi? Dr. Reed froze. You remember me? Naomi asked. I remember everyone they made disappear. Her words carried years of consciousness trapped behind secrecy. Jonathan's voice lowered. What is Phase 4? His mother answered. Not sensors. The line crackled. Selection. What does that mean? They are not measuring compliance anymore. The older woman struggled to breathe. They are choosing who can be controlled. My skin went cold. Controlled how? Jonathan asked. Memory. Fear. Loyalty. Her voice weakened. They want people who can function normally after parts of themselves are removed. Jonathan's missing week. Kathleen forgetting her children. Michael resisting the protocol. The program had evolved beyond monitoring. It was training itself to edit human identity. Who funds it? Jonathan asked. Governments. Companies. People who never put their names on paper. Marcus? He is the keeper. Who is above him? The woman began coughing. A mechanical alarm sounded through the phone. Mother. You need the ledger. We found it. Not Thomas's ledger. Jonathan's face tightened. What ledger? The original. Where? Her answer came in fragments. Your father hid it, inside the first building you ever bought. Jonathan stared ahead. Cross Logistics began with one warehouse near the Chicago River. The building where his empire started. Which part? The floor, beneath your name. The line broke. Mother? No response. Then Marcus Vale's voice replaced hers. Calm. Close. You always did make her emotional. Jonathan's expression became lethal. What did you do? Nothing she did not choose. Put her back on. No, Marcus. You destroyed North Lake. I exposed it. You endangered her treatment. Then give me the records and let independent doctors care for her. Marcus laughed softly. You still think institutions are cleaner when they belong to someone else. Where is my father? Moving. Samuel? Useful. What do you want? At last, the question Marcus had been waiting for. You. Jonathan said nothing. Marcus continued. Come to the original Cross warehouse tonight. Alone. No. The answer came from me. Marcus heard it. Evelyn. My body tightened. Jonathan looked at me. Marcus's voice warmed in that false way I had come to hate. You continue to enter conversations above your clearance. There is no clearance level for kidnapping. Kidnapping requires unwilling victims. Your patients were recruited through debt and false medical care. Some people call that opportunity. Jonathan's hand tightened around the phone. Do not speak to her. Marcus ignored him. Evelyn asked Jonathan what happened to the first property he purchased. I looked at Jonathan. His face changed. What happened? I asked. He did not answer. Marcus did. 4 families lived inside it. Jonathan closed his eyes. The warehouse was condemned, he said. After you bought it, Marcus replied. You cleared the apartments to obtain financing. I saw the memory enter Jonathan's face. Not forgotten. Avoided. Did you relocate them? I asked. I paid the required amount. That is not what she asked? Marcus said. Jonathan looked at me. No. The word hurt him. I did not verify where they went. The first acquisition. The first building. The first time people became paperwork beneath his ambition. Marcus had chosen the location carefully. The foundation of Jonathan's empire rested on the same moral failure South Harbor repeated. You want the final authorization? Jonathan asked. Yes. For Phase 4? Yes. What is my role? You own the biometric patents after the Vale merger. Then you need my signature. And your living authentication. The watch. His pulse. His identity. Why not forge it? Jonathan asked. We tried. The car crash. The injection. The memory suppression. Maybe they had needed him conscious enough to authorize something even then. What happens if I refuse? Marcus's voice became quieter. Your mother's treatment ends. And my father? He becomes unnecessary. Samuel? Collateral. My father's coworker reduced to the same word Marcus used for Lily. Collateral. Jonathan looked toward the officers around us. The call was being traced. Lila watched a technician. He shook his head. Encrypted relay. No location. Tonight, Marcus said. Midnight. The warehouse is surrounded before I arrive. Then your parents died before you enter. You expect me to trust you? No. Marcus's voice hardened. I expect you to remember that I have spent 15 years planning for the day you stopped. The call ended. Jonathan lowered the phone. No one spoke. He stood in the corridor beneath lights powered by a hidden medical network his family had helped create. His mother was alive. His father was alive. Samuel was alive. Marcus held all three. And the next phase of the program required Jonathan himself. What is beneath the warehouse floor? I asked. Jonathan looked at me. My name. What does that mean? When I bought it, I had the Cross Logistics emblem set into the concrete lobby. The floor beneath your name. His mother had told him where the original ledger was hidden. Marcus wanted to meet there. Both paths led to the same building. Naomi closed the relay case. We need the ledger before midnight. Lila looked toward the police captain. We also need a rescue plan. The captain shook his head. Without a location for the hostages, the warehouse meeting may be the only lead. He expects surveillance, I said. Yes. He expects Jonathan to come alone. Yes. Then we give him what he expects. Jonathan turned toward me. You are not involved. I almost laughed. My father's control sample is in that cooler. Samuel Ortega worked beside him. South Harbor exists because Marcus needs a new facility. My niece was photographed. I am already involved. This ends differently. How? He wants me. And that means you stay away. Because you think losing yourself is acceptable if you protect everyone else. His eyes hardened. This is not psychology. No. It is your family pattern. The word struck. Michael preserved Calder for his wife. Victoria protected Marcus for her mother. Daniel stayed silent for his children. Every one of them had chosen private love over public truth. Every choice had fed the same machine. You cannot save people by becoming Marcus's next patient, I said. I am not asking permission. Neither am I. The captain stepped between us. This operation will not be planned in a hallway. Jonathan looked at him. Then at me. For 1 second, anger passed between us. Beneath it was fear. Beneath fear, something neither of us had named. He turned away first. At 12:42 in the afternoon, the first news helicopters appeared above Calder facility. By 1:10, Cross Meridian stock had fallen 18%. By 1:30, federal agents arrived. By 2:05, the Department of Justice announced an investigation into unlawful human testing, evidence destruction, and corporate obstruction. At 2:17, Mercy South completed my mother's renal scan. At 2:31, Hannah called. They found a mass. The world stopped. What kind? They do not know yet. Kidney? Yes. Cancer? They do not know. The words repeated. They do not know. The only honest answer. The most frightening one. I stepped away from the command room. Is Mom awake? Yes. Does she know? The doctor told her. How is she? Calm. Of course she was. My mother faced illness with the same quiet she used for everything else. Bills. Pain. Fear. She carried disasters softly so the rest of us could keep moving. I am coming back, I said. Jonathan stood several feet away. he heard. Hannah continued. Mom said not to. I do not care. She does. She may have cancer. And she said the truth you are finding matters. She matters more. Yes. Hannah's voice softened. She wants you here. She also wants you to finish what you started. I closed my eyes. The same impossible choice. Family or truth? Private love or public responsibility? Maybe the answer was not choosing one. Maybe the answer was refusing to let powerful systems force the choice at all. I will come before tonight, I said. Good. The call ended. Jonathan approached slowly. What happened? They found a mass on her kidney. His face changed. I am sorry. We do not know what it is. Do you want to leave now? Yes. Then go. You need help with the warehouse. My people can handle it. Your people created Calder. The words came out sharper than intended. He accepted them. Yes. I rubbed both hands across my face. I am sorry. You are afraid. That does not give me permission to hurt you. He looked at me for a long moment. No. The answer was gentle. It does not. For the first time, the moral rule moved both ways. Power did not excuse him. Fear did not excuse me. I will return before midnight, I said. No, Jonathan. Your mother may have cancer. And your parents are hostages. That is my burden. That is not how this works. It should be. Why? Because you have carried enough for people who should have protected you. The words entered quietly. My father's lies. My mother's bills. Hannah's responsibilities. Ryan's anger. Cross Meridian's corruption. Jonathan saw all of it. Not as weakness. As weight. You do not get to decide when I have carried enough, I said. No. He looked toward the ambulance carrying the preserved samples. But I can tell you that you do not have to prove your worth by staying. My throat tightened. No one in my family had ever said that. We proved love through endurance. Worked sick. Stayed silent. Paid bills. Protected everyone. Rest felt like betrayal. Jonathan, the man who never rested, had recognized it in me. Go to your mother, he said. I will send the warehouse plans. You still expect me to help? I expect you to notice what we miss. I looked at him. And you? I will try not to become the next thing you have to save. It was almost a promise. Not quite. I left North Lake at 2:48. Cameron drove me back to Chicago. He did not ask why Jonathan watched the car until we disappeared through the gate. I did not explain. At Mercy South, my mother sat upright in bed eating gelatin she clearly hated. Dad occupied the chair beside her. Ryan stood near the window. Hannah held Lily on her lap. For 1 minute, the investigation disappeared. I entered the room. Lily ran toward me. I held her until my arms hurt. Mom watched. You found it? She asked. The facility. And? Patients were moved. Michael? Alive. Dad closed his eyes. Samuel? Alive 6 years ago. Probably alive this morning. His face broke open with relief and grief at once. 15 years. He had believed his friend dead because believing him alive. Somewhere unreachable was worse. What about the mass? I asked Mom. More tests. When? Tomorrow. Biopsy? Possibly. You should have had the imaging last month. Yes. Anger filled me. The denial model had stolen time. Maybe only weeks. Maybe something more important. My mother touched my hand. Do not spend tonight fighting what we do not know. I do not know how. I know. She smiled tiredly. You got that from your father. Dad looked offended. I am very calm. Ryan laughed. It was the first ordinary sound I had heard all day. We ate dinner from hospital trays. Turkey sandwiches. Soup. Coffee. Lily drew pictures on the back of insurance forms. In one, our family stood beside a tall man in a black coat. I recognized Jonathan. He was drawn twice the height of everyone else. "Why is he so big?" I asked. "Because he owns buildings. That does not make people taller. It does in pictures." Children understood power visually. Maybe adults did too. At 7:12, I opened the warehouse plans Jonathan had sent. The original Cross Logistics building stood near the Chicago River, west of downtown. 3 floors above ground. 1 basement. The lobby emblem had been installed in 1998. Cross Logistics. The plans showed no space beneath it. But the concrete foundation contained a 6-foot void between the basement slab and an older utility level. The floor beneath his name. A hidden cavity. I reviewed the original property records. 4 families had lived in converted apartments on the 2nd floor. Jonathan had purchased the building at 29. The city declared the apartments unsafe 3 weeks later. Residents received small relocation checks. The warehouse opened after renovation. 1 family moved to Indiana. 1 entered public housing. 1 disappeared from the records. The 4th surname stopped me. Ortega. Samuel Ortega's sister and her children had lived inside Jonathan's first building. Samuel had not been connected to Cross Meridian only through South Shore fabrication. His family had been displaced by Jonathan's first purchase. Did Jonathan know? Probably not. But ignorance kept appearing at every foundation. I searched the tenant names. Maria. Ortega. 3 children. 1 son named Gabriel. A current public record showed Gabriel Ortega as an electrical contractor in Wisconsin. Near Waukegan. Near North Lake. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered carefully. "Evelyn Hart?" A man's voice. "Yes. My name is Gabriel Ortega." My pulse changed. "How did you get my number?" "My uncle gave it to me." I stood. "Samuel? He said you would understand the number." "What number?" 82. The relocation model. The hidden threshold. "How is he contacting you?" "He called from a block number 10 minutes ago." "Where is he?" "I do not know." "What did he say?" Gabriel breathed unevenly. "He said Marcus is taking him to the first house Jonathan stole." "The warehouse." "Did he mention Michael Cross?" "Yes." "Alive?" "Yes." "Where are they now?" "He said under the river." I looked at the warehouse plans. An old freight tunnel ran beneath the property toward the Chicago River. Not shown in modern records. "What else?" "He said do not let Jonathan sign." Phase 4. The final authorization. "Gabriel, why did Samuel say 82? He said it was not a percentage." My body went cold. "What is it?" "A patient number." The number we had followed through every South Harbor model was not invented for real estate. 82 had originated inside Calder. "Whose number?" Gabriel began crying. "Mine." The line became silent except for his breathing. "You were a patient?" "I was 8 years old." His family had lived inside Jonathan's warehouse. They were displaced when he bought it. Maybe not relocated. Recruited. A poor family offered housing or medical care. The same pattern. "What did they do to you?" I asked. "I do not remember." The answer was worse than any description. "Why is 82 inside the property models?" "My uncle said Marcus uses old patient numbers as authorization codes." A private language hidden in plain sight. 82 bypassed community review because it was not only a percentage. It was a command. A Calder authorization embedded inside Cross Meridian systems. "Where are you now?" I asked. "Driving to Chicago." "No. Stop. My uncle is there. Marcus may expect you. I lost him once." His voice hardened. "I am not doing it again." The call ended. I looked toward my family. Mom watched me from the bed. "You have to go," she said. "I just got here. And now someone else needs you. You need me." Yes. Her eyes filled. But needing you does not mean owning every hour you have. Jonathan had said something similar. No one has the right to own you. Not even love. I bent and hugged her. I will come back. I know. Dad stood. I am coming. No, Samuel is alive. You are injured. I am not helpless. I did not say you were. His face tightened. For 15 years, pain had turned every offer of protection into an insult. I lowered my voice. Dad, I need you here with Mom. He looked at her. Then at me. The old family equation. Who stays? Who goes? Who carries what? He sat slowly. Bring him home, he said. I could not promise that. I will try. At 8:03, I called Jonathan. He answered immediately. What happened? 82 is a Calder patient number. Silence. Whose? Gabriel Ortega. Samuel's nephew. How do you know? He called me. Samuel contacted him. Where is Gabriel? Driving to Chicago. Jonathan swore quietly. What did Samuel say? They are beneath the river. Marcus is taking them to the first house you stole. The words hurt him. I heard it. The warehouse. Yes. Do not go there. I am already leaving. Evelyn. Samuel said not to let you sign. I know. How? Marcus sent the phase for authorization to my private account. Do not open it. I already did. My pulse spiked. What happened? It requested biometric confirmation. Did you provide it? No, where are you? A pause. At the warehouse. I stopped walking. You went early? I needed the original ledger. Alone? No police? Outside the perimeter. Marcus said your parents would die if the building was surrounded. They are remaining beyond visual range. You still went inside. Yes. Anger and fear collided inside me. You told me not to become the next thing I had to save. I remember. You had 3 hours. Apparently my self-improvement is gradual. Despite everything, a breath of laughter escaped me. Then a sound came through the phone. Metal grinding. Jonathan's voice lowered. The floor beneath the emblem is opening. Do not go down. I need the ledger. Wait for me. No, I found Gabriel. Evelyn. Do not use my name like an order. The line went silent. Then he said more quietly, Please stay at the hospital. I closed my eyes. Please do not go beneath that floor alone. Neither of us agreed. The call ended. At 8:21, Cameron pulled up outside Mercy's South. I entered the car. You look terrible, he said. Thank you. Where are we going? The original Cross warehouse. Of course we are. He drove toward the river. Night settled over Chicago. Office windows glowed. Trains moved along elevated tracks. The city continued as if nothing beneath it had changed. At 8:39, Lila sent me a live location. Jonathan's phone. Inside the warehouse. Then below it. 10 feet. 20. 30. He was moving underground. At 8:44, the signal stopped. At 8:46, Gabriel Ortega called again. I found the building. Do not enter. There is a service door near the river. Wait for me. I have waited 15 years. He ended the call. Cameron accelerated. At 8:52, we reached the industrial block. The Cross Logistics warehouse stood between newer buildings like something the city had forgotten to remove. Its brick exterior had been restored. The original sign remained above the entrance. Cross Logistics. The first mile matters. Police vehicles waited 3 blocks away with their lights off. Lila stood beside an unmarked van. Jonathan is underground, she said. We know. His signal disappeared 6 minutes ago. Gabriel entered from the river side. Who is Gabriel? Patient 82. Her face changed. We moved through the warehouse lobby. The old cross emblem covered the center of the floor. A metal cross inside a circle. Jonathan's name turned into architecture. One section stood open. Stairs descended beneath it. The floor beneath your name. I looked at Lila. Police? They are entering through the loading level. Then we go with them. Cameron grabbed my arm. Evie. I looked at him. Stay behind the officers. I will. No. I mean actually stay behind them. I heard you. You also. Hear Jonathan and do whatever you want. This is not the time. That sentence again. The officers descended. We followed. The stairs reached an old freight tunnel beneath the warehouse. Water dripped from the ceiling. Rust-covered rails disappeared into darkness. The tunnel ran toward the river. Fresh electrical cables had been installed along one wall. Marcus had built a hidden system beneath Jonathan's first property. Maybe before Jonathan bought it. Maybe the warehouse had been selected for what was already below. A light glowed ahead. We moved toward it. The tunnel opened into a circular chamber. Jonathan stood at the center. His hands were raised. Marcus Vale faced him from behind a steel console. Two armed men stood nearby. Michael Cross sat in a wheelchair beside the wall. He was 81 now. Thin. White-haired. Alive. A medical line entered his arm. Beside him stood Samuel Ortega. Older. Scarred. But standing. Gabriel had reached him. They held each other near the tunnel entrance on the opposite side. Jonathan's mother was not there. A screen behind Marcus displayed her face. She lay in a hospital bed somewhere else. Calder East. Her breathing was assisted by a machine. Marcus saw me. Disappointment crossed his face. You never follow instructions. No, I said. It is becoming expensive. Jonathan looked at me. Anger flashed across his face. Then relief. He tried to hide both. What did I tell you? I stayed behind the officers. Ask, do not tell. Even Michael Cross looked confused. Marcus laughed. This is what distracted you. Jonathan's face became cold. She is what made me look. The words settled through the chamber. Not love. Not possession. Something more important. Recognition. I had not saved him by being gentle. I had made him see. Marcus placed one hand on the console. The phase for authorization is ready. Jonathan looked at the screen showing his mother. What happens after I sign? Her treatment continues. And the patients? Transferred into the new South Harbor facility when construction is complete. There will be no South Harbor facility. Then treatment ends. Find another location. It is not the building that matters. It is the legal framework. Cross Meridian owns the patents, hospitals, insurance data, and urban development rights. Marcus smiled faintly. You built the only company capable of selecting, testing, relocating, and monitoring subjects without any one division understanding the whole. The full horror of the diversified empire emerged. Hospitals found vulnerable patients. Insurance algorithms identified desperation. Real estate displaced communities. Logistics moved people. Cybersecurity hid records. Media shaped the story. Finance paid through shell companies. No single employee saw the system. Jonathan had built separate industries. Marcus had connected them into Calder. You used my company as a recruitment network, Jonathan said. I used its potential. Without my knowledge. With your signatures. The old defense. He signed. He owned. He benefited. Marcus was guilty. But Jonathan was not innocent. Jonathan looked toward his father. Michael's eyes opened. He saw his son. For 15 years, Jonathan had imagined this moment beside a grave. Now either man could move. Dad, Jonathan whispered. Michael's mouth trembled. You got old. Jonathan laughed once. A broken sound. So did you. Marcus looked impatient. Touching. Samuel moved toward the console. One armed man raised his weapon. Gabriel stood in front of his uncle. The police officers aimed. The chamber locked into a breathless balance. No one moves, the captain ordered. Marcus looked toward Jonathan. Authorize Phase 4. No. The screen changed. Jonathan's mother's oxygen level began falling. He saw it. So did I. Marcus had tied the command directly to her support. You stop the system, Marcus said. She dies. Jonathan moved toward the console. I understood. He was going to sign. Not because he believed Marcus. Because love narrowed the world to one body on one screen. Jonathan, I said. He stopped. Marcus smiled. Do not listen to her. I looked at the authorization screen. 82 appeared in the lower corner. Patient authority code, 82. Gabriel's number. Not random. Not merely an access code. The authorization required a patient whose neurological pattern had resisted full erasure. Gabriel. Phase 4 needs him, I said. Marcus's face changed. Jonathan looked toward Gabriel. Why? I stepped closer to the officers. Gabriel is patient 82. His code appears in every bypass model. Marcus did not use it because it was convenient. Naomi's explanation returned. Memory. Fear. Loyalty. Selection. They are trying to reproduce whatever allowed Gabriel to function after treatment. Gabriel stared at Marcus. You said the therapy failed? Marcus's expression became flat. It did. No, I said. It failed to erase him completely. Samuel gripped his nephew's shoulder. What did they do to him? Gabriel's eyes filled. I do not remember. Marcus looked toward Jonathan. Sign. Jonathan's mother's oxygen dropped again. 79%. 77. Jonathan stepped toward the console. Michael spoke from the wheelchair. Let her go. Jonathan froze. His father's voice was weak, but clear. What? Michael looked toward the screen containing his wife. She chose years ago. No, she made me promise. You expect me to watch her die? I watched you bury her. The pain in his voice filled the chamber. She would rather die as your mother than live as his leverage. Marcus's jaw tightened. Do not romanticize death. Michael looked at him. You spent 30 years romanticizing control. Jonathan's hand hovered near the biometric panel. His mother's oxygen reached 73. I wanted to tell him what to do. I could not. This choice belonged to him. Not because he was powerful. Because it was his mother. He looked at the screen. Then at Marcus. If I sign, how many people enter Phase 4? Marcus said nothing. How many? Initial cohort of 500. My stomach turned. 500 people selected through hospitals, insurance data, and debt systems. 500 lives entered through a signature. Jonathan lowered his hand. No. His mother's oxygen fell. Marcus pressed the control. The alarm quickened. Jonathan did not move. His face broke. Still, he did not move. No, he repeated. Michael closed his eyes. On the screen, Jonathan's mother opened hers. She looked toward a camera. Somehow she knew. Her lips moved. No sound came through. But Jonathan understood. He whispered the words for us. My beautiful boy. The oxygen line flattened. Jonathan stopped breathing. The screen displayed, patient support terminated. No one moved. Marcus had expected grief to make Jonathan obey. Instead, grief removed the last thing Marcus could threaten. Jonathan looked at him. His face became completely calm. You no longer have leverage. For the first time, Marcus Vale looked afraid. He reached toward the console. Gabriel moved first. He struck the emergency release. Every door in the tunnel unlocked. The lights went out. The chamber filled with shouting. A gun fired. Then another. I dropped behind the concrete barrier. Cameron pulled me lower. Police lights cut through the darkness. Someone screamed. Metal crashed. Then the emergency generators activated. Red light filled the chamber. Marcus was gone. One armed contractor lay on the floor. The other had surrendered. Jonathan knelt beside Michael. Samuel held Gabriel. The console displayed a new message. Phase 4 authorization failed. Network transfer initiated. Marcus had triggered another escape protocol. Lila reached the console. Transfer to where? Data moved across the screen. Files. Patents. Patient lists. Financial records. All being transmitted away from the warehouse. The destination appeared. South Harbor Node. My neighborhood. The new facility was not future construction. It already existed beneath South Deering. Maybe beneath the old factory. Maybe beneath our homes. Marcus had not needed to build it. He had been restoring something buried there 15 years ago. Jonathan looked toward me. My family's house sat inside the immediate acquisition zone. Not because they wanted the land. Because the house stood over an entrance. The final screen updated. South Harbor activation, 11:59 p.m. 1 hour. Then another line appeared. Residential clearance protocol armed. My blood went cold. What is that? Cameron asked. Michael opened his eyes. His face filled with terror. Gas lines. I thought of our old pipes. The utility easements. The code inspections. The relocation pressure. The system expected 82% voluntary acceptance. For everyone who refused, Marcus had built another solution. An accident. Just like South Shore fabrication. Jonathan stood. His mother had died less than a minute earlier. His father sat before him. Marcus had escaped. But Jonathan's grief no longer looked like collapse. It looked like purpose. How many houses? He asked. Lila read the system. 314. My neighborhood. Mrs. Delgado. The Robinson family. St. Bridget's. Our house. Lily's height marks beside the kitchen doorway. Jonathan looked at the countdown. 59 minutes. Then at me. Call your family. I already had the phone in my hand. The first number connected. My father answered. Evie? Get everyone out of the house. What happened? Now, Dad. Something in my voice reached him. He stopped asking. I heard him shout for Ryan. Jonathan called the mayor. Lila contacted utilities. Police requested mass evacuation. Sirens began moving towards South Deering. 58 minutes remained. I looked toward the dark tunnel where Marcus had disappeared. He had built a system that turned vulnerable people into data. Families into leverage. Neighborhoods into clearance zones. He believed the poor would scatter if frightened. He believed powerful men would surrender if someone they loved was threatened. He believed every human being could be reduced to the correct number. He was wrong about one thing. People were not predictable when they stopped standing alone. Jonathan reached for my hand. Not to pull me. Not to control me. Just to make sure I was there. I held on. His mother had died. My family was running from their home. His father had returned. My father's missing friend stood 20 feet away. And beneath the neighborhood that raised me, a hidden system was preparing to finish what it had started 15 years earlier. The first accident had created the secret. The second was designed to bury it forever. This time, we knew it was coming. And Marcus Vale had 58 minutes left to learn the difference between frightened families and a city that had finally been warned.